Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining us on this very special episode of Ace Audio. I'm very excited today because this is our 100th episode, a milestone episode for us here on the podcast. Myself and Bo have been on almost all of the episodes together. We know it's been a long journey to get to 100, but today we're very excited to be joined by the broader team of the Ace engine, the Ace team. The members of this group work behind the scenes and in front of the scenes to make all of the things that we do here at Ace happen. Very excited to be joined by Gabby, Dalton, Elisa, and of course, Bo and myself. Today, we're going to be sharing highlights and lessons of our time working with Ace. Now, this is not just about us. This is hopefully going to be some lessons and highlights that you can take away as lessons and highlights that you can use for yourselves in your own business to build your teams, to create better outcomes for your patients, to just do all the things that you do day to day, hopefully even better. So we're going to share those one by one as we go through the team. Now, most of you have been tuning to the podcast for a while will know myself and Bo. You may or may not know the other members of the team, so they're going to give you a quick introduction of who they are and then walk you through a highlight of their experience in the time and the things that they've done as part of ACE, and then a lesson that they've learned. So let's kick it off with Gab. Gab, would you like to start us?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Gab. I'm ACE's Director of Finance and HR. So I think that's pretty self-explanatory. I don't need to go into it too much. My highlight so far has been, and it's only a recent one, was our ACE team retreat that we had at the start of the year. And for those of you that don't know, we organised a meeting for everyone to come, well, a gathering for everyone to come and stay together at a house in Bowen Heads. And we did a whole heap of, I guess you'd call it team building and collaborating and working through different challenges that we had in the business, brainstorming, different things like that. That was a highlight for me because we all so often work so remotely from each other. We've got us in Victoria, we've got Bo and Elise in WA, we had Dalton and Amanda in New South Wales, and now Dalton's over in the UK. So bringing everyone together was so awesome because, just the productivity, the morale boost that it gave everyone, just feeling like you were a part of something, really hits home more when you're all in the same location. It can be really hard to keep that feeling going when we're all in separate locations so often, and you can't just get an idea and talk to someone straight away about it. So and it's so important, the investment into team building. I know companies go into team building exercises a lot, and it can seem a little bit sometimes it could seem a little bit lame, I guess, depending on how they put it, and people can be really against it, and it can always be a bit of pushback from team members and stuff. But the investment into making sure your team feels like a team is so important. So yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. I'll just quickly jump in and just say that was exactly the same experience for me. And I remember this one moment I was part of that 3 or 4 days that we spent together where I'd been out doing something and I walked into the room and everybody was just engrossed in their task they were trying to achieve and working together and separately in the space. And I walked in and I just went, wow, there's just so much activity and energy being generated out of this collaboration. And that was a highlight for me too, actually. That was a great experience. So yeah, I think you nailed it.
Yeah, that was good fun. And especially the fact that Dalton learned how to do a backflip, which I taught him how to do, but I also still won the backflip competition. So I think that was the main point.
I have to say that my best backflip wasn't posted for that challenge, and I'm still a bit salty about it. So, yeah.
Pick up on the competitive nature of this crew. Yeah. Yeah, the house that we had a trampoline in the backyard, and these guys made good use of that. They did try to get me on it, but I feared for my spine too much and didn't want to have to spend the next 6 months in hospital, so I left it to them. So yeah, that's good. Excellent. Gab, what about lessons learned?
Lessons learned. This was a hard one, and I think I know we tried to narrow it down to one lesson. That's your main one. I've really found it really difficult. So the main ones, I think there's two, maybe 2 or 3 sort of merged into one. and this has come from, or not just working with ACE, but watching my dad, who ran his own business for my whole life and well before I was born. And then seeing a lot of those themes play out in ACE and helping to run ACE and the day-to-day things that we do and the challenges that we have. And I've probably only just started to realize the impact that my dad had on how I go about what I like to call my business brain as such, and my ethics and how I go about my role within ACE. And so the main lesson I have from Dad is invest in the right people. And so that's a really big one. That was a big one that he had. He always had these, he found the right people and he always invested in them really well. And he, would put in what they needed, and it just paid dividends for him. And so I guess to relate that back to our audience would be that, sometimes it can be really easy to find the right people, but making sure that you invest in them properly so that they want to hang around. Like, how many of us have been in a role where you're giving your role and then it's, you feel like, you're not worth enough, or you're not seen to be very valuable, or I guess just not appreciated. And so that was one of the things that really stuck with me from Dad, and with ACE, of all the things that we go through. The other one is to take calculated risks and take them often. I say often, but I guess you want to, it's a big thing in business to take risks, and don't be afraid to do that. But make sure they're calculated. Like, take the risk when you've got as much information as possible, and you've run the numbers, and you've played out all the scenarios that could happen, and you've played out the worst case scenarios and the best case scenarios, because every decision you make is going to have a pro and a con. And so, it's to keep taking those risks, and eventually they pay off. Some of them you'll take them and they won't pay off, but you do have a fair few of them that do. So they're my two main lessons, I guess.
Does anyone have any comments for Gab on those? Those are some really important ones. I think I certainly feel those as well in the business, like investing in the right people, surrounded by them right here. And then we've taken a number of risks together along the way, I think, and I think we'd all agree that not all of them pay off, but when they do pay off, they pay off really well. Has anyone got any comments?
Yeah, well, that's right. Feeling valued, that's the number one thing. Like, you want to make sure that that what you do is recognized and appreciated, and it makes a big difference to your overall productivity and in job satisfaction, and how you can be creative. So that's certainly very important. Yeah.
And it's funny how people are motivated by different things, aren't they? Like, some people are motivated by money. We assume that employees are motivated by money, but a lot of the time it's not. They just want an opportunity to be themselves and develop and invest in the things that they care about, and be more than they were when they walked in the door. So that's it's good points, Gab. Nice.
Yeah. And I guess and on that point, like, I guess you have to ask your staff, well, what is important to you? Is it, are you feeling valued in a monetary sense? Are you feeling valued that your contributions are being noticed and things like that, and checking in? It's something that I feel that, Shaun, you do really well as an owner of a business, and checking in with people and seeing how they're going and making sure they feel valued. And I've certainly learned a lot from you in that sense. And I continue to try and be better at it every day. Like, it's not something that you're going to be awesome at to begin with, and you probably never be perfect at it, but as long as you keep checking in with people and making sure they feel valued and appreciated, and that they feel like you're actually making the investment in them, then it's that's where it pays off.
It goes to our patients too, doesn't it? When we're treating patients in clinic, and them recognizing that you've put in enough time and effort and energy into making sure that their care is appropriate and it's personalized and it's detailed and all of those things, then when the patient feels cared for, just like we do as an employee or as a member of a team, then their outcomes are better. So I think that's really nice. All right, let's go over to Dalton now. Dalton, you've been involved in ACE in a number of different capacities. You want to introduce yourself for those who haven't seen or met you before?
Yeah, definitely. So, as Shaun mentioned, I've had a couple of different roles or responsibilities over the time. And initially, it started out assisting at courses, just being an extra pair of eyes, and then taking on some content after a few courses. And then more recently, been working as one of the student support members and doing a bit of admin tasks in the background, which is absolutely fun. Love and enjoy that. One of those things that it allowed me to do, thankfully, and sort of leads into my highlight, is assisting at the ACE cruise. And I think I may have stolen the highlight for the rest of you guys mentioning the ACE cruise here. But one of the funnest things was the last day where we had the ACE Olympics, and Bo may have won the backflip challenge, but he didn't come through when it mattered on the ACE cruise, and he couldn't get the win with his team. That went to yours truly, myself, and that team that we had. Great bunch of people. But the ACE retreat was such a fantastic time, and so many good memories. Like Gab was saying, it was another time where all of us got to come together and get to catch up, and a great time of learning as well. It was some of the best content that I'd ever seen, which you guys put together, and myself and Amanda working together. And yeah, it was a really, really valuable time. So looking forward to the next one in Greece. But what it sort of brought me to for my lesson was that no great achievement is made from a singular effort. It's always multiple efforts all put together, which by themselves might look small, but when you look at it in the bigger picture, it's sort of leading to the position where we are now. And I'm sure anyone who's running their own business in the industry, in the space here, can attest to that as well. Nothing happens overnight, and you're not waiting for the one big success. It's that daily grind of just putting in the effort, putting in the work, and then eventually you have something that comes out that you can stand back and be proud of.
Oh, you should probably have Ryder reply to that one first up.
Oh, yeah, look, I'll let him have that one. But beginner's luck. But yeah, no, look, it was interesting at the retreat. And it was good even just to see your progression as well, Dalton. I've seen you from your first teaching experience to being able to deliver a course on your own, and the fact that you're even able to work in an inside joke into your presentation, that was a real highlight for me. So I thought that was pretty impressive.
There's a lot of inside jokes that go on around here. It's a subtle level of humor within the ACE team.
I had our retreats as one of my highlights, Dalton, and it was a really close thing with our team retreat. And I think it was just the same sort of thing that you said. It's about it's not just the fact that we get to go to these cool places and learn and have a great experience while we're away, but it's you bringing together this group of people from all these different parts of Australia. And sometimes, we might have someone from another country, but that would not necessarily meet had that not happened. And then they have such an extended period of time together that people don't normally have when they're on courses, like a 1 or 2 day course. And they have all these extracurricular activities going on around it, that they form these relationships and friendships and these networks they normally wouldn't get otherwise. And so it's really cool when you step back and you, like on the first day that the retreat runs, and it's like the energy's up here and you look around and everyone's so excited and you're like, oh, wow, like we brought all these people together for this one thing. Like it's pretty awesome feeling to get that. So
yeah, I was just going to say, so many memories made on these things, aren't there? And you come away and it's not just one memory, it's the combination of all these people creating memories together, and we get to see the same people come back again the next year and build on those memories and the relationships that we have. And yeah, it's hugely gratifying. Absolutely. All right. Well, thanks, Dalton. On to Elisa.
Okay. So I'm Elisa. I'm ACE admin and marketing girl. And I did start, I think it's probably about 2 to 3 years ago now. And I started as a little bit of an admin person and then a little bit of marketing. And then it's just expanded this full-time role that I'm currently doing, and yeah, loving it. But about the lesson that I've learned, I feel like there's so many of them, but the main thing that comes to my mind for myself is probably just like the confidence with things that I do daily. I feel like I found myself doubting a lot and thinking, is this the right thing to do? Because I do a lot of decisions on my own. But then I thought, you know what? It's either going to work or it's not going to work. If it works, that's awesome. If it doesn't work, we'll find another way or we'll do something else. And that's probably something that everyone can sort of think of, that we do make all these decisions. We have a reasoning behind it. Like we do know why we do something, or like it's not that we just come up with some random thought and we put it into action. We actually do think why we're doing it. So there's always a reason. And within that reason, I think it's just, yeah, fair to try new things and just go with it. It's not always easy, and it does make like it, you know, you've got the days when you're like, oh, is this going to be okay? Or is this the right thing to do? But it's, yeah, you just have to go with it and see how it pans out.
Right. They say you either win or you learn. You don't win or you lose, you win or you learn. And I think that's, if I'm right, that's your point. Like you get it right or you figure out how to do it better. And, you know, every day we get the opportunity to do that in any role that we have, don't we? We get the opportunity to try things, and then if it didn't work, we can try something else. And it's just about perspective and mindset on that, rather than getting down on yourself like, I don't know what I'm doing. It's like, that didn't work. What else could I do? So great lesson.
Yeah, the confidence one's a big one, isn't it? Like we've definitely seen you really come into your own and blossom and take over your role and just do so well at it. And it's such a big thing. And this relates back to our audience. Like as a clinician, sometimes I think the biggest problem is that people, they learn all this information and then it's having the confidence to put it into practice with their patients, and having the confidence to try new things and having the confidence to try again when you do. Like, you know, you might get it wrong one time and go, oh, okay, all right. And yeah, you've just got to keep trying and give it another crack.
Highlights.
Okay, highlights. I think there are way too many highlights. And yeah, also think that the retreats and the team retreats, like they all highlights, and it's amazing. But now mine, I feel like this is going to sound very lame, but I feel like my highlight is the daily highlight with the people I work with. It's just, you know, like when I open up my emails and I can see all these names, emails from you guys, it just puts a smile on my face and feeling like very grateful and lucky. And it's just like a daily sort of thing that I'm grateful for. And like, it's a highlight. I mean, yeah, it's very nice to work with people, and we all work very seamlessly together. I feel like we're on different time zones, especially now Dalton being in England. And I'll get to go to Finland sometimes to see my family. We're on different time zones, but there's never any issues. We just send emails to each other, we message each other, and then it just all works out very well. And everyone's so sort of relaxed and flexible. And then Bo and Shaun are working on the weekends. I'm not working on the weekends normally, but then I work during the week, but the guys might be taking time off, and yeah, we just work around all these sort of daily things. But it's, yeah, that's my, sounds very lame of a highlight, but I think it's a huge thing to have that sort of a work team.
Yeah, it's not lame at all. I think that's great.
Yeah.
It's perfect. I'd also say, Elisa, you're underselling yourself. You always introduce yourself as the marketing and admin girl. It's way more than just the marketing and admin girl. You're the marketing and administration manager. You manage so much of what goes on in the background behind this business. You know, Bo and I get to stand out in front alongside Dalton a lot of the time too, stand out in front of the class, and people just see this machine that just kind of works, and it's all great. But every member here plays a really critical role in the background, and nobody's just anything. You're all very, very important, and none of this happens without every member of the team here and the broader team as well that aren't even on this podcast with us today. So, yeah, Lisa, you've did a great job. So thank you.
Cheers.
All right, on to Bo. Bo, do you need to introduce yourself? You probably should. Maybe there'll be someone out there that doesn't know you.
Yeah, so I'm Bo, the Director of Education. Yeah, what else do I do? Yeah, so I create a lot of the content, do a lot of the teaching. Yeah, I've got a fantastic job. I get to travel around the country and teach and share ideas with like-minded people and hopefully inspire others. So yeah, I really enjoy what I do, and yeah, it's fantastic to be such a part of such a great team. So I'm super grateful and fortunate to be in this role. So yeah, that's me. But I guess as far as my highlights go, I mean, the fact that I do get to do what I do and create course content and wake up and be motivated and inspired to get back into writing another course so I genuinely enjoy that, and the fact that it's, I guess, the boundaries are limitless. It's about how far you want to take it, and looking back to when we first started, and like I was with Ace from the start, and how much I've learnt and progressed in that time, and how much additional courses and content that we've written and delivered in that time. It's not slowing down. It's getting to that point where we're just getting better and better, and the level of content that we're delivering is higher and higher. So I guess that's a huge thing for me. On the weekend we've delivered some new specialist courses, and yeah, that's just a real highlight to see how inspired and I guess how into it people are, and the fact that we can challenge different ideas and provide education to so many different people, and a new or different lens for people to look through in clinical practice. That's pretty special for me.
100%. You nailed it, Bo, when you said challenging ideas. Having seen you develop over the years that I've worked with you too. You said you've been with Ace since the start. In fact, we started working together before Ace began. And so I remember you then. You were a great teacher then. Now you would be one of, if not the best teacher I've ever seen. So the progression is exponential over that period of time. And that's your testament to what can be done when somebody goes, I'm going to be the best that I can. And that's anybody can do that. It's just about whether or not they commit themselves to it. So yeah, perfect. You're a living example of what can be done, I think.
Yeah, well, that's right. I mean, setting those goals and having those aspirations, I think you can work towards that. Anyone can do it. I've got a unique opportunity where I am able to devote that time and effort into constantly developing these resources and courses, and being diving deep into the research. So I get that opportunity, which is great, but it doesn't mean that no one else can do that as well. But it also sort of leads into lessons where there is always areas for improvement. When you, for example, on the weekend deliver a course that you believe is going to be the best course, but then you look at it and think, oh, there's so many things that we could have done better or delivered a little bit differently. And so I think that's one thing that I always do and try to do is ask for feedback, look at that feedback and try to tweak things a little bit, not only in the content, but the way that it's delivered or the way that it's understood. And so there's so much of it comes back to being a good educator or being a good communicator, because they have to align to be able to deliver the type of educational content that we want to be putting out there. It's got to be understood. It's got to be digestible. So I think that's what's really important, is to see different perspectives, take on that feedback. But also, I mean, a big thing for me is to be able to challenge ideas, challenge beliefs, and for other people to be open to that as well. So it's the more open you are to challenging your beliefs, then there's more room for improvement.
Bo, you're like a testament to someone who thinks that you never sort of look at something as like, okay, the job's done now. You're always keep going, and you just amaze me because you'll make this whole course and it'll be so incredible and mind-blowing to so many of us, and we're like, wow. And then you'll find something in it that'll be like, yeah, but that could be improved, and that, oh yeah, and that I didn't like the way that went during that course then. And I'll be getting updates from Shaun saying, oh, Bo's made another update to this course and another update to this course. And I remember back in the day when we used to print out the booklets for things, and I kept saying to Shaun, like, is Bo going to stop updating the courses, like our dry needling course, so that we can get, proper booklets made up one day? And he's like, I don't think so. And then we decided that, well, one, it's better for the environment that we provide them electronically, and we're moving away from that. And it gives us the opportunity that you just keep updating stuff. Like, it's just incredible to watch and to see someone that is always striving for better. It's it's pretty awesome to have someone like that in your team. So you make all of us want to do it too in our roles. So yeah, good work.
Thank you. But yeah, that's right. I mean, nothing will ever be perfect. So that's, you could look at that from different perspectives as well. But and it's always a challenge every time you deliver something or work with a patient. It's a challenge to be that little bit better, and always look back on that experience and see what worked well, what didn't, what could be improved. And just when you think you've got it right, there'll be something that could be changed as well, or at least learnt from. So it's continuous, this learning process.
Sure. And it's funny, isn't it? Like, feedback and learning can be effective, or it can be really frustrating depending on your attitude. And Don's another great example of this too, where you put all your heart and soul into something and you want to do a good job. And rather than look for praise necessarily about what you did well, the questions will be, okay, could I have done that better? What could I have done differently? How could we make that better? What can we adjust? And then, someone like myself, who often gets to give feedback to people, from my perspective, I want to give people the praise, but people like you guys actually want to find out what you could do better, not what you did well, because that's where you make the biggest difference. And being able to give that feedback and say, hey, you know what, that thing you explained there in that way, or the way you put that across, or the analogy you use could be different, and here's how I think, and you go, great, I'll take that and build upon it. And that's why, you, Bo, and Dalton as well, as another great example of someone who takes feedback really well, can increase their capacity and their ability so quickly. It's just this constant feedback cycle of feedback, adopt, improve, feedback, adopt, improve. And that's, it's great to see. That's why our students love our courses, I think, because we have this internal process that we do so well. So
yeah, I was going to mention that as well, Shaun. You can tell that the students love it. And if you can adopt that and use the same sort of, I guess, approach of being humble and asking for feedback and looking at improving, the amount of trust that you earn when you take that approach is amazing, and doing it in clinical practice instead of just treating patients or seeing patients and coming across that you have all the answers already and you know exactly what you need to do, but making it a conversation with the patient where you're taking on their feedback of how they're feeling through the treatment or how they're progressing with the interventions you provide. It builds so much rapport, and you'll see the improvements that you can get just, again, like you've said, just increase exponentially. So it's great, not only in a work environment with teammates, but in clinical practice as well.
That's great. Thanks, Bo. Beautiful. I guess that leaves me then. Introduction, I guess. Shaun, the leader of this little team of geniuses that I'm surrounded by here today. I'm the founder and the director of ACE, and alongside Bo and Dalton and others in our teaching team, I get to share all the stuff that they teach in our courses. At the very beginning, I was the person creating all the course content, and then I very quickly realized that there was someone that was better at that than me, so that became Bo. And now we have the testament to that decision. It was the quality of the material that we have, so that's been probably my best decision along the way, is hand that bit over to Bo. He does it much better than I do. And now I get to benefit by teaching the material that he creates and improves, which is lots of fun. and I still get to enjoy all that stuff that we do in the classroom. And then behind the scenes, I guess my job is to create the direction for the business and give everybody the support that they need. So that's what I do day to day, and yeah, it's a joy. So I'm going to start with my highlight. This is really hard. I did sort of lean towards the retreats initially as well, because they're so much fun. While it's designed to be an educational experience, they are very much a fun experience with some education thrown in as well. And for the same reasons that you get those memories and the teamwork and the collaboration that happens there. I also thought about the team retreat and the investment in each other that we put into in those days that we spent earlier this year. That was lots of fun, and I really enjoyed that too. One of the things that's been a highlight along the way too is just seeing this team evolve, and each member of the team kind of really take ownership of their role, and not just say, Shaun wants me to do this, and off they go and do it, but to go, Shaun wants me to do this, and what else could I do? And then just expand beyond that. That's been really gratifying for me. But if I was to put my finger on one thing, that would be the biggest highlight. Luckily for me, it's something that I get to experience on a regular basis, and it happens just about in every course that we teach, which is where you get that moment in time where you're explaining something you think is important. You're trying to give it with as much passion and emphasis as you can. And there'll be just one person in the room, and you see a little light bulb on their head just come on, and you think, they got it, they're getting it. And you just see them light up, and almost like all of the numbers start computing in their mind. The smile comes onto their face, and they go like, yes, I got one to figure this out. And they get this opportunity to do what they do on a daily basis in a better way, in a new way, and improve the quality of life of their patients. And just like we all experience with a patient, when you get through to them and you get that information that they need through to them, and they click with it, and then off they go. I get to experience that just about every class, every course that we run. So those moments in time are hugely a highlight for me, because I get to experience on a regular basis, and then that's down to the quality of the work of the whole team. It's not just me delivering it; it's all the stuff that we've put together to make it an experience for them. So that would be my highlight, I think. Lessons. As the leader of a business, you get a lot of lessons. You get them on a daily basis, probably, and you do have to take a big slice of humble pie with it, because a lot of the time, I think you're expected to just know the right way to do things and the best way to do things, and that's often not the case. When you're running a business or leading a team or trying to drive anything forward. So the lesson for me, probably in more recent years and recent time, has been that it's not about me. Like I was talking about before, when Bo and I first started, it was my courses, the content I've created in the way that I like to deliver it. And then Bo learned to do that, and he followed, and then we just did that for a while. And then very soon we, through a testament through Bo's way of thinking, let's challenge some ideas. And we started to branch, and we go broader and broader and deeper. And so I very quickly came to realize that it's not just about me. The success of the business that we'd had up to that point was not because of something that I personally had done. It's because of an approach that we're all adopting. And so it wasn't about me. It was about what we were doing as a team. And so that idea that you are the face, you are the reason of the success for your business or your team or whatever, can only get you so far. And there's a saying that they say, if you are the smartest person in the room, then you're in the wrong room. And I think this is a great example of where you just want to put yourself in a room with smarter people. And so not just smarter, but dedicated, invested people that are passionate about what they're doing. And right now I'm surrounded by those people. So the lesson for me has just been, it's not about me, it's about the people you surround yourself with. And again, that takes a big slice of humble pie to remove yourself as the person that apparently matters the most. No, you don't. It's a 1 + 2 + 3 + 4 = 1,000. It really multiplies out with everybody's investment and their dedication to the culture that we all have. And so, as a leader, I think it's just about plot the path forward, remove obstacles, give everybody the tools and the skills they need to do their job, and stand beside them and just push forward together. So for me, the biggest lessons, it's not about me, it's about us. And nothing incredible was achieved alone. And so that's been a hard lesson learned, but an important one, and one that I'm very grateful for.
Testament to you, Shaun, as you're one of the only people that I know that can really take on hard feedback, and I guess use it to reflect and make big changes, which is hard to when you're the boss of an organization, and you're someone who I really admire for being able to do that, because it's not easy. And yeah, I think that it's sort of it builds more trust in the team as well, where we can openly go to you with feedback or things that we think could be changed or better or different, or that's not working, and you're very receptive to that. And I think that's what makes the team work so well also.
I can only do that because I know I don't know everything. The second that you think you know everything, it's really hard to take people's feedback. I think that's the trick. And I've been guilty at times of thinking that I've known the right thing to do and the best thing to do. And then when somebody says, no, I don't think that's right, no wonder we get stuck in our ideas and patterns and can't take feedback, because we're assuming that our way is the best way. And I've come to realize that my way can only get us so far. It's everybody else's feedback that gets us to the next thing. So thanks, Bo. Good. Any other comments before we move on? We'll wrap it up for the day. All right. Highlights and lessons learned from the core members of the ACE team. Thanks, guys, for everyone joining us. This is like I said, our 100th episode of the podcast. We don't do too many episodes like this where it's just us reflecting on things that we've learned and done along the way. But hopefully this has been of some value to those listening and watching. And we look forward to the next 100 with you all. Cheers.